In my last video, we looked at how the Old Testament gives us glimpses of divine plurality, multiple persons acting and being described as God, long before the New Testament makes it explicit. Now, in part 2 of this series, we're turning the spotlight onto one specific figure, the Messiah, not just as a promised human king, but as someone who is actually divine, Yahweh in person. This isn't just Christian retrofitting. The Hebrew Bible itself, on its own terms, shows us a Messiah who shares in God's essence while remaining distinct from him. Let's dive in. We'll start with a text that Jesus himself quoted to describe his identity. Daniel 7:13-14. With the clouds of heaven there came one like a son of man, and he came to the Ancient of Days, and to him was given dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people should serve him. These are two figures here, both clearly divine. The Ancient of Days is Yahweh, but then there's this Son of Man figure who rides the clouds, a role reserved for God in the Old Testament, and he receives worship from the nations. That is not normal. This passage uses the Aramaic word palak, meaning divine service or worship, and when it's translated into Greek in the Septuagint, it becomes latreo, a word exclusively used for worship given to God. And it gets even deeper. In the ancient Canaanite religion, Baal was called the cloud rider. The Hebrew prophets took that title and applied it not to Baal, but to Yahweh. Isaiah 19:1, behold, the Lord is riding on a swift cloud. Deuteronomy 33:26, he rides on the heavens in majesty. Psalm 104:3, clouds are his chariot. So when Daniel describes the Son of Man coming with the clouds, he's not describing someone who's merely human. He's a man, but he's wearing God's name tag. Next up, we're going to go to somewhere a little bit unexpected. Isaiah 53 is one of the most quoted messianic prophecies in church history, and for good reason. It reads like a play-by-play of Jesus' life, death, and resurrection. But here's what a lot of people miss. This servant in this passage doesn't just look like Jesus. He looks like Yahweh. In Isaiah 52:13, the servant is described as being high and lifted up and greatly exalted. That phrase is reserved in Isaiah for God alone. Isaiah 6:1, the Lord is high and lifted up. Isaiah 33:5-10, the Lord alone is exalted. Isaiah 57:15, God is high and lofty and is one who inhabits eternity. And in Isaiah 2:17, the Lord alone will be exalted in that day. So if the servant is exalted in the same way Yahweh is, then we're dealing with more than just a prophet, we're looking at a divine person. But it doesn't stop there. Isaiah 53:11 says the servant will justify many and bear their iniquities. Yet in Isaiah 45:24-25, Yahweh says, in the Lord alone are righteousness and strength. In the Lord all the offspring of Israel shall be justified. And when we turn over to Isaiah 59:16, when no one else could intercede for sinners, God himself steps in and does it. Yet, here in chapter 53, the servant also intercedes. So which is it? Only Yahweh can justify and intercede, or can someone else do it? The answer is yes. The servant is Yahweh, yet is also distinguished from Yahweh. That only makes sense in a Trinitarian framework. And there is a whole lot more in Isaiah. In chapter 9, the child to be born is called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, aka El Gabor, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. That phrase, Mighty God or El Gabor, is the exact title used for Yahweh himself in Isaiah 10:21. Then in chapter 11, Isaiah introduces a shoot from the stump of Jesse, David's family line. The Spirit of the Lord rests upon him. He judges with righteousness. He brings justice to the whole earth. Yet that same Spirit-filled justice-bringing branch shows up again in Isaiah 42, where God says, I will put my Spirit on him, and he will bring justice to the nations. The same themes appear again in Isaiah 49. The servant is a light for the Gentiles, just like in Isaiah 11 and 42. But the servant is also rejected by the nation, just like he is in Isaiah 53. The simplest explanation is that the divine child of chapter 9 and the branch of chapter 11, the servant of chapters 42, 49, and 53, are all the same person, a human, but who also shares in the essence of God. Finally, Zechariah gives us a famous prophecy. Behold, your king is coming to you, humble and riding on a donkey. This is the Messiah, righteous, saving, and peaceful. His rule stretches to the ends of the earth. But a few chapters later in Zechariah 14, it says, the Lord will go out and fight. On that day, his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives. Well, hold on a second. God has feet, and he stands on a mountain and splits it in two? This is Yahweh coming in physical form. Zephaniah, another Hebrew prophet, says that this being is the King of Israel, the Lord that is in your midst. This king is God, yet he's distinct from Yahweh, dwelling physically in the midst of Israel. I hope the picture is becoming pretty clear by now. In the next part of this series, we're going to dive even deeper, looking at the messenger of Yahweh, another mysterious figure in the Old Testament who speaks as God, acts as God, and yet is sent by God. And if that sounds familiar, it should. If you want to support this channel and help me continue to make content like this, please consider joining my Patreon. You'll get early access to videos, be a part of our private group chat, and directly support the spreading and defending of the gospel. Thanks for watching.